So Borda, good morning. Croeso I Cadair Idris. So welcome to Cadair Idris, or certainly welcome to Idris car park. I've just left the car park now. It was very, very busy this morning. I'm really not used to doing mountains at weekends because I normally work. But obviously I'm off on holiday at the moment and it's a beautiful day weather-wise. So I thought, why not do Cadair Idris, as it is the closest mountain to my house. But yeah, super duper busy. So if you're going to come here at a weekend, defo, make sure you're getting here nice and early. Otherwise you won't be getting parked in Idris. But yeah, when you start, nice easy walk. Plenty of families kicking about on this part of the path because the walk from here to Llyn Cai really isn't very difficult, except these steps that I'm about to take on in a moment, just through the forestry bit. If you can get up them steps, then you've got a really nice day out to Llyn Cai. And then it's obviously up to you if you want to go further than that, like we are doing today, up to the summit, which I'll tell you a little bit more about as we get en route. But yeah, so beginning of the walk, very, very simple, very, very easy path to follow, straight out of Idris, up past the visitor centre, into the forest and up the steps. Just a couple of minutes into your walk, you'll come to this lovely little rushing stream. You'll come to the signpost, and obviously we're going right up Cadair, and this is when you've got about 300 meters of ascent, purely up steps, which are very good fun, as you can see going up, but it is very beautiful through these woods. So when you come out of the little forest, it is only a little forest, but when you come off the steps, and you will be thankful because I'm relatively fit and they are a killer, them steps, but you'll come to this little point here. You'll see a little crossroads. There's a path going across the stream here. There's a path, a little fork to your left. We're going to be taking the fork to our left today to carry on following the Minffordd Path. But it is also beautiful, and if it was slightly warmer, above sort of 4 or 5 degrees, if you come here in summer, this is a wonderful little place for a dip on the way down to help you cool down after being on the mountain. So yeah, make sure you're taking the left fork if you're looking at following me today. And Cadair Idris, what does Cadair Idris mean? It's a pretty well-known name. Cadair in Welsh means chair, and Idris is a name. So it's the chair or the seat of Idris, which is here. And Idris was believed to have been another giant living in these parts in ancient times. And he wanted to build himself a great big seat here, so he could stare at the heavens. He could lie back and he could stare at the heavens. And the other reason I've stopped here is these two great big boulders that you can see. I'm stood next to one here, big flat pebble-like boulders, and apparently these are a couple of pebbles that were trapped in Idris's shoe when he sat down and he flicked them out of the bottom of his shoe. So that should give you some sort of idea of the size of Idris, the mighty giant. Truth be told, he was more likely to have been a chieftain or a clan leader, because it is known that there was a battle on Cadair Idris fighting off invaders from islands. So could well have just been a really hard bloke called Idris who killed loads of people as well. But I prefer the giant story. But Cadair is full of myths and legends, and I'll tell you a few more as we get a little bit further up the hill. But yeah, there's your first view of the actual summit of Cadair, where we're heading now. So I thought I'd stop here just because it's absolutely beautiful. This is about halfway, well, it's exactly halfway pretty much now to the summit. And what you can see behind me now is Ceredigion, Powys, Mid Wales, the Cambrian Mountains, the Welsh Desert. And for me, this is an excellent point to layer up. So far on this walk, it's only been 4 degrees, but be bold and start cold, especially on Cadair Idris when there's so many steps at the start of it. So I've just got a merino layer on and my foul raven keb trousers. But at this point, it's definitely worth putting a little fleece on or a little windbreaker, because you've come up out of the valley now and you're just not protected from the wind. Today it's not a strong wind, it's only 12 miles an hour, but that's enough. There's enough coldness in that wind to make me really feel the difference. So I'm going to spend a second now just quickly layering up. There we go, so a nice little wind cheater there. It's actually a little waterproof sort of soft shell. And if you are looking at getting a soft shell, strongly recommend them, because this one's a mountain equipment one. It is waterproof. But more than that, it just keeps that wind off you. It's breathable. And if you start to get really warm, make sure you buy a jacket with pit zips. It makes all the difference if you can open them and let some airflow around you. But yeah, so you can see the Cambrians around me now. I'm going to head on behind me, which I'll quickly show you. Or sort of behind you rather than behind me. I'm not going to head to the mountains behind me, but there's the Cambrians looking splendid. But that's the path we're going to take now. Just going up there. So yeah, I'm going to crack. Second to last bit of the hill, you can see the main summit now of Gadair behind me on Cadair Idris, and I'm just going to start walking down that little bit of hill just so I can start walking back up the hill again. But I thought I'd take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the mountain that I'm on, about Cadair Idris. Cadair or Cadair doesn't really matter. I think the National Park changed the official spelling to Cadair, C-A-D-E-R, a few years back. I tend to say Cadair. But that's just because when I've been taught Welsh, Cadair is chair, and that's the pronunciation of it. So that's the way I still do it. I don't know if it's right or not. But anyway, on Cadair Idris, make sure you're off here after dark. I mean, obviously we have head torches these days, but Cadair Idris, as I mentioned earlier, is steeped in Welsh history and mythology. And one of the guys that is said to live here and roam this hill is a man, and I hope I'm saying this correctly because I don't want him to come after me, is Gwyn ap Nudd. And Gwyn ap Nudd is the lord of the Celtic underworld. And this man roams Cadair Idris by night after darkfall on his steed with a pack of wild hounds, huge red bloodhounds, called the Cwn Anwen. So if you hear dogs howling on here after dark, you better get moving pretty sharpish, because Gwyn ap Nudd is said to collect the souls and bodies of those who are on this mountain after dark. Thankfully, I intend to be off well before dark, because I don't fancy bumping into that guy. But at the minute, it's very hard to think that the Lord of the Underworld exists here at all, because it's stunning. I mean, over there, you can see the sea. I don't know if you can quite see it, but you can see all of the Llyn Peninsula. I can even see Bardsey Island today, or Ynys Enlli, which is another mythical place I'll tell you about another time. But I can see the summit behind me. I can see down to my hometown of Barmouth. I mean, very hard to believe this is home to the Lord of the Underworld. But who am I to argue with thousands and thousands of years of ancient mythology? So you've been warned. Be off Cadair after dark. So Priham down, croeso ar ben Cadair Idris, and heddiw edrych yn bert iawn. So welcome to the top of Cadair Idris, and today it is looking very, very pretty indeed. Nice easy walk, and yeah, absolutely stunning views of the whole of South Eryri, and you can see into North Eryri behind me as well. A little bit cloudy to see the weather today, but you can see my home of Abermawe just down the estuary there. So yeah, let's head on to the shelter and get a brew. So ar copper Cadair Idris ydy bothy bach. So at the top of Cadair is a small bothy or shelter if the weather ever got bad, and just absolutely stunning views down the Madach estuary all the way to my hometown. And you can see Barmouth Bridge where I live. Beautiful. So that's me heading down now from the top of Cadair. It took me about an hour and 30 minutes today to get to the top, which isn't bad at all. And obviously I've stopped to take videos and muck about a little bit. Slipped on my arse at one point as well, not because of ice, but I brought micro spikes in case today. But in actual fact, it was super duper muddy. Interesting thing, as you're leaving the summit, don't miss it, very old fireplace just here, and that would have been where the original bothy and shelter was, at the top of Cadair Idris, back in the day when bards and poets used to come up here in the hope of inspiration. And that's why it's often said that if you spend the night on Cadair Idris, you'll wake up either a poet or a madman. But as we talked about earlier, with the Reaper of Souls being on this hill after dark, you might not wake up at all. But whilst I've been at the top of Cadair Idris today, I had a quick brew in the shelter. I've put a bob hat on rather than my caps because it's always a bit colder coming down. And I've put a fresh base layer on. If you're like me and you get sweaty going up hills, or you try and get up hills quick, always carry a spare base layer for when you get to the top, because honestly, coming back down in a dry base layer is just very comfortable. I've put on a fresh snood because my other one was sweaty as well. And now I'm making the slow descent down this hill. And I do go slow because I'm going to stop for lunch back at Llinkai, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the beautiful lake as we get down. So I'm coming down the hill, coming down Cadair now. So the whole hill is called Cadair Idris, and the top of Cadair Idris, the highest point of Cadair Idris, is Pen y Cadair. A lot of people get confused thinking the summit is Cadair Idris. But anyway, when I'm coming downhill, I tend to wrap up a little bit warmer coming down because I'm going a lot slower. I can still get up hills pretty quick, but coming down, I always take my time. One, don't want to injure myself. Two, coming down a hill is when I tend to take all my pictures. Because going up I don't like to stop too much because I start cramping and things like that, but coming down I like to take it slow. And one thing I do like to do on the way down is keep nibbling little sweets, just to help me on my journey, you know. And today I've got a little bit of Haribo Star Mix I'm bringing with me, and if there's one reason I would recommend an Osprey backpack, it's not because of the comfort or the airflow or the fact that you just look a bit cool in one. It's the fact that they have side pouches on the belt strap that I can fit sweets in, which I think's bloody brilliant. So whoever did that at Osprey, thank you. I appreciate it very much indeed. I'm going to stop videoing now because this is a bit sketchy. Honestly, I don't think there is a better feeling on God's earth than having summited a hill or a mountain, and that feeling you have walking back down. Honestly, I'm buzzing. It's like, it's the best drug that there is. I mean, why on earth the NHS don't prescribe OS maps and walking poles instead of antidepressants is absolutely beyond me. Because honestly, like, no matter what's going on in your life, and I personally have loads of shit going on in mine as well. We all do. We all have our battles to face. And, you know, men especially can often be very bottled up with feelings and stuff like that, but nothing, and I mean nothing, makes you forget your problems like a burning in your thighs and an ache in your feet, and just seeing wonderful things like this, it is just so good for you, honestly. Doesn't matter about your level of fitness, just get out, follow my blog if you want some really easy low levels, or Google it, have a look. But please, if you're struggling with mental health or stress or anxiety or anything like that, get out on the hills, because it does me, I can't even describe it, it does me the world of good. And getting to share that view at the top with you guys today, I've been up Cadair Idris twice before and never have I had a view. So yeah, buzzing, absolutely buzzing. So hello, here I am at Llyncai now, the legendary Llyncai. I've got a brew and I've gone right posh today. I normally have Yorkshire tea, but today I've got Yorkshire tea gold, so ooh la la, a very fancy brew indeed. But I've stopped at Llyncai, one, because I'm hungry, and I always think it's a wonderful place for lunch, so I've got the jet boil on the go. Today I'm eating a dolmio tomato and basil pasta. It's just boiling away now, I'm looking forward to that. But whilst we're at Llyncai, I thought I'd just take the quick opportunity to tell you a little bit about it. So if I move out of the way a bit, you can see it in all its glory. Now that is not the peak of Cadair Idris. It's part of Cadair Idris, but the peak is further around, you can't quite see it. But Pen Cadair is just around the corner from this, but this is Llyncai. Now the reason this is legendary, obviously we've already talked about the giant Idris and how this was his seat, and when you look at it now, you can see that seat shaped like a giant armchair. There's the back, the armrests, and his big old arse would have been just here. But this lake is also special because apparently it is bottomless, and living at the bottom of this lake is a dragon that has been trapped there for centuries. And the dragon was trapped down there simply because he was terrorizing the local area. He was flying around, he was burning flocks of sheep, he was, killing people, burning towns and whatnot. And he was a real problem for the people in the area. And so, of course, as always, a hero was needed. And as usual, that hero was King Arthur. And he came to this area and he fought the dragon. And then he got it under the lake using Merlin's help. Using Merlin's help, he got it to the bottom of the lake and they trapped it down there forevermore. Still alive, but trapped underneath all this water. But apparently it's bottomless. But then there's a dragon at the bottom, so who knows? Who knows? But this is Llyncai, and it is an absolutely beautiful place to stop for your lunch and just take in the awe-inspiring beauty of it all, really. Anyway, cheers. Enjoy. Well, dolmio time. Thank you, Jet Boil, as always. A tasty lunch, as I always say, is better than a meal deal. So I'm almost down now. I'm just about to hit the steps in the forest that are rubbish when you're going up, and they're just as bad on the knees going down, to be quite honest. But anyway, I'm almost down. And yeah, Cadair Idris, a really beautiful walk. The Minffordd Path, even if you're a beginner hiker, there is nothing technical on this route. Now at the top, it's a bit shingly, it's a bit loose. You're walking on rock, but at no point did I have to use my hands. At no point was it a scramble. It was just loose stones. So as long as you've got good footwear on, you'll be absolutely sound. And as I say, I find poles very useful too. But what I will say is, whenever you're going up a mountain, be sensible. Tell somebody your planned route. Tell them when you're expected to be back. I've done that with 2 people today. And make sure you've got spare clothing, because if you do get stuck on the mountain for whatever reason, you want to be able to layer up. And if you had to call mountain rescue, I think the average wait time is something like 8 hours for them to get to you. So, be prepared to wait on a hill if you need to. And think about daylight now. I'm probably about 15 minutes at my pace from the end. And in total, by the time I get back to the car park, I will have been on the mountain for a total of 4 hours, 45 minutes. That includes lunch and filming. Obviously base that on your own fitness level and pace. But make sure you've got plenty of time. I've already walked past people who are going up now this low on the path, And if they're going at the average tourist speed, it's going to be 6 hours before they're back at this point. And it's going to be very, very dark by then. And I'm not being judgmental. I think the hills are for everybody. But when they've not even got backpacks on, then it's evident they've not got layers or head torches. And it's just an accident waiting to happen. So, you know, the mountain rescue guys, they're all volunteers. So, you know, these people have got families and that. They don't want to be putting their lives at risk simply because you couldn't be asked to do a little bit of research, you know. So don't be a wally, and make sure you're checking stuff out before you go up a hill. But this path, the Minffordd Path, perfect for anybody. If you are a beginner and you want to know the route I've taken today, check out my other video, and that's got the route and how I planned it with OS maps, and also some ideas on what to pack for this walk. But other than that, a very, very easy time to be had. Preham dda, David. I'm just saying hello to the locals. But yeah, Cadair Idris, definitely do it. It's an absolute stunning mountain. A right nice place indeed. Strongly recommend you come. I was going to do my sign-off video in the car park, but then I realised that if I did that, this would have been the first video I'd put onto YouTube without Maxie with me. So I thought I'd best wait until I get home on the dog walk. So in total, Cadair Idris today took me 4 hours 20 minutes, and that was with breaks, videos, brews, all that sort of stuff. But I would, if you've not done hills before, give yourself plenty of time, a good 6 hours. Yeah, give yourself a good 6 hours to get up and down, really, and make sure you've got the kit. I mentioned earlier it's not really a technical route, and that's true, but if the weather was bad, I wouldn't want to be up there unless you had the technical know-how to use a map and a compass and navigate in poor weather, because the path would become very invisible very quickly in the right weather conditions. But yeah, the other thing I'm going to say, just a quick rant, on a mountain, don't wear aftershave. I was just stuck behind a massive group of lads when I was coming down. I managed to overtake them. Must have been about 6 of them, and everyone must have had a different aftershave on. Now, I'm not quite sure why they need Armani for Punani on a mountainside, but honestly, it stunk walking down. I could taste them all. Vile stuff. Nobody needs aftershave on a mountain. Rant over. Thanks for joining me at Right Nice Places. This has been Dan. It's been great. Like, subscribe, share, click the bell and all that business. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.